Hello, BookTube. It's about 20 to 7 in the evening. I'm here at the library. We close at 8. It's very quiet tonight. We had a big storm yesterday, snowstorm. About 10, 11 inches of snow. Snowed all day. Kids didn't have school, so I stayed home with them. And then my wife came home from her job and ended up sideways and then down in a ditch. So I had to run up the hill, and all my neighbors ran up the hill, and we eventually had to get a tow truck, get her out while all the traffic was held up. In Vermont, all the traffic is like 4 or 5 cars, but it is what it is. So after a stressful day, we got up this morning, and there was school, and everybody was going to work, and I live on a dirt road not far from a covered bridge. It's not a priority to be plowed by the town, so my wife got out pretty good. She used my car, which is a heavier car, and then I used the littler car and couldn't get up the hill. Turned around and went the other way towards the covered bridge in the school. I can go either direction. Makes a loop. Couldn't stop a couple times and couldn't make it up the other hill, and picked up speed and went back the other way, fishtailed to the covered bridge, and that's exciting with the children terrified of the vehicle. And then made it up the hill and got them to school, and everybody's happy and safe. But the adventures of living a rural lifestyle. Simple things can turn difficult sometimes. So, still cold out. I'll head home here in a bit and have a late supper, and we'll start all over again tomorrow. But because it's quiet, I thought I'd take advantage of the time and do a book tag. And I was tagged by Elana Makridina, who I'm doing a buddy read with. And this is the Clean Slate book tag. And the original was by Catalyst Reads. So I'll link the original, Catalyst Reads, and Elana Makridina down below. So here are the tag questions for the Clean Slate book tag. 1. Are there any genres that you're going to read more or less of in 2018? Well, I've mentioned before I'd like to get back to reading some fiction. I love nonfiction. I love tales of exploration. I like nature writing. I like history, American history, especially Revolutionary War in New England. But I want to read more fiction. I've just about to finish up a Patrick O'Brian novel. I want to read more vintage science fiction. I'm reading one with Elana and a buddy read, Anne McCaffrey volume, Dragon Quest. And I'd like to get back to some of the Bernard Cornwell, the Sharp, and some of the Anglo-Saxon tales. And so I like to do a mix this year. I'd like to read a lot of what I think of as fun, fiction, and some of the newer stuff, or newer to me, that I haven't read over the years because I've been reading other things. I was thinking about the Expanse, the novels in that series. I don't know much about them. I've been going to get into them. I think I started the first one, but something happened. So if anybody has opinions about those, please let me know. Number 2, are there any books that you've recently read that changed or challenged some of your own philosophies and beliefs? No, not really this year. I've read some philosophy books. Maybe I haven't been challenged enough. I'm not really in the being challenged mood. I'm more in the mood of, hey, let's have a little fun. Let's get back to reading for just pure enjoyment. I read a lot for work, and I've read a lot in grad school and all those sorts of things. But what got me into reading was probably thrillers and sci-fi, and I'd like to revisit something. Maybe it's my midlife crisis, except for I'm a little older than even midlife, I guess. Number 3, who would you recommend for a newbie to watch? Well, I wouldn't recommend a particular person because I think the channels I watch, each person brings something different and it would depend on your interests. If you were into pulp thrillers and pulp fiction, I would say Paperback Junkie. Wide-ranging biography, history, new material especially, but also excellent on older material. Let's say Steve Donahue. Some of the mysteries, especially historical mysteries. Mel Bookland Adventure. I mean, see what happens here. You start going into you have to explore a little bit and see who's doing the stuff you're interested in. I tend to watch people who are doing what I'm interested in and people I'm interested in. You just have a good time watching them, man. They're entertaining. They know how to present themselves. I think of Todd the Librarian and the interests he has, but he can present well. Or the Tea Hags who make me laugh. So that would be. But they also have good things to say about books. It's not just that. Number 4, do you have a reading book bucket list? I do. I probably should be pursuing it a little more intensely, but there's a Heritage Press set of the essays of Montaigne. I'd like to get and read in that format. I've always said I wanted to get through the whole Remembrance or Times Past, or whichever translation version of Proust you want to use, or Proust. It just seems so intimidating and like such a large project. I have a Wagner biography, the 4-volume set. I've only got 3 of them that I'd like to read. Yeah, there's always stuff. I'd like to get through the John Richardson biography of Picasso. I think I've read the first volume, and there's 3 or 4. So, yeah, there's those and more. 5, what is it about BookTube that has surprised you the most? Not just the people producing the videos, who I really enjoy, and the new ones that come along I enjoy. What surprises me is that you can have a friendship develop with the folks who don't produce videos but comment, and you look forward and you see them and you smile and you think, oh, hey, here they are. It's you have that group of folks and you learn to enjoy it, and I didn't expect that. Number 6, what are some of your goals? I have a lot of professional goals right now. I have a lot of goals with my family. BookTube, I'd like to, once I finish up the shelf tours, which I've enjoyed doing, and they're a training ground for me on BookTube. And they're what I like to watch other folks do, but I'd like to expand the types of videos I'm doing. So we'll see how that goes. So I'm doing different types of videos, maybe more chat. I like book chats. I'm not a professional reviewer, and as a librarian, I rely on professional reviewers, and I've messed around with it a little bit myself, but book chats I'd like to do. If number 7, if you could meet, dead or alive, well, if I meet you, I prefer you're alive, any writer, artist, or musician, who would they be? Oh, I can think of many. Leonardo da Vinci. Love to have met Tolkien. I bet he could be maddening. I bet they all could if they're interesting enough. Would I like to have met Darwin or Newton? Somebody who's on the cusp of the change, and even change within themselves, and struggled with what their discoveries how it changed, or Galileo, somebody like that. I'd really, really love. I would have loved to have met Carl Sagan. So, yeah, I probably could go on and on about that, but yeah, Carl Sagan would have been fun. For a laugh, I would have loved to have met Isaac Asimov, because what I read about him at conventions and stuff, he was a bit of a trip. Okay, number 8. Would you rather have your life written by your favorite author or be betrayed? I would like to be betrayed. No, portrayed in a movie by your favorite actor, actress. I can see Brad Pitt or Johnny Depp struggling at portraying my life. No. Written? Kerouac. Number 9. What are some of the challenges you had to overcome or would still like to overcome, I guess, to improve upon in regards to your channel? My wife does the editing. We don't do much. We have never figured out how to put the little books up in the corner. We've never gotten into the fancy stuff. Pretty much we'll do a cut if something happens, but other than that, we don't do anything. And I think it's helped. I'd like to do those things, but I think it's trained me to at least attempt to get through a video unedited. So I'd like to now maybe start bringing in some of the bells and whistles if we can figure it out. We're not there yet, but this bare bones way of doing a video has been a good training ground. Okay. Number 10. What advice would you give to someone that is thinking about deleting their BookTube channel? Well, do it. If it's no longer fun, or you're a little wore out from it, or time to move on to something else, you want to go backpacking, have at it. Some folks, if they do it, I'd be sorry to see them go, but I appreciate what they've done. So I wouldn't advise them against their wishes. I'd say, hey, if you had a good run and you're time to move on, move on. So who do you tag? Well, I don't know how old the tag is, and I don't know who's done it. I do think Elana Makridina said Todd the Librarian's done it. I don't know, so I'm going to throw out some names. Sir Book Sage, maybe. I don't know if he's done it. Ernest Lee Eston, I don't know if he's done it. Paperback Junkie, I don't know if he's done it. I don't know if she said Mel's Bookland Adventures had done it. So anybody I haven't mentioned, or anybody on that list that I mentioned, if you're interested, it's a fun tag, it's thoughtful, and this clean slate book tag. Thank you, BookTube.